Hey, I'm Jonathan, and I live in London, England.
Hey, I'm Jeff, and I live in Perth, Australia.
Together, we are Ekko Sidetrack.
We produce music that sounds like this.
And this.
And even this. This podcast is about music, creativity, and everything in between the giant space that separates us.
Welcome to A Band Apart with Ekko and Sidetrack. Today's episode of A Band Apart with Ekko and Sidetrack is brought to you by Short Order Burger Co. I, for one, believe it's the best burger in Perth, Australia. And whether you live in Perth and you haven't tried it, or whether you're going to go to Perth and you're looking for the best burger, I advise you go to this place. They've got two stores, one on Hay Street in the city, 800 Hay Street, and one in Fremantle at 3 William Street. The Fremantle is a new store. It looks like an absolute vibe. Great place to go for a drink and enjoy a big old burger. When you go into the store, mention the code word Sidetrack and you'll get 10% off your order. That's a gift from us and a gift from Short Order to you for listening to the podcast. Go out there and enjoy a burger, yo.
I feel nervous. No, I'm joking, I don't.
Why?
I've built up to this day ever since I started listening to this podcast. I've wondered when I was going to be asked to be on it.
Would you say this is a dream come true?
I mean, not one dream come true. Like years of dreaming has now come true on this day because I'm on this podcast.
I'm glad that we could offer you this.
Was that your phone?
Yeah, I'm going to turn it off. That's really unprofessional.
How many episodes of a podcast and you still don't remember to turn? I'm going to turn mine off now.
I was editing last week's episode and I actually heard it go off. And Jeff, it really fucks Jeff off.
I can imagine Jeff getting pissed off at that.
Man, he's really good with his. He turns it off and he's just like, we're doing the podcast, but I'll often leave mine on. On today's episode, I'm joined by a very special friend, a very special person, because Jeff is doing some work to prepare for a set this weekend, a show we have in Brisbane. So I asked if my good friend Max Linguistics could come and chat to me. E.g. MC Linguistics, E.g. Dr. Spin, what other names? Max, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us what you're about.
Hello. Yes, I'm Jono's friend, a man of many names. I hate introducing myself on things. I never know how to describe myself. Whether it's job interviews or CVs. Not that I've ever done very well at them, but I never know how to intro myself. I'm a friend of Jono's. That's my biggest accomplishment to date, and I'm proud of it.
You're an artist. You're an MC.
Yeah.
You're a touring MC.
Yeah.
You write songs.
Yeah, I write songs. I've done 3 EPs. Yeah, working on a load of new stuff at the moment.
And you've got a song coming out on Friday with Document One.
Yeah, I've got a song coming out with my good friends Document One, super talented producers, who I've known actually for a real long time. They were kind of one of the first DJs I ever really did a set with, way back in the day. But yeah, I got a single coming out with them on Friday on Shogun. So actually, this ties in quite well because I can shout about it.
This is the first stop on the press tour that you're about to go on.
Yeah. It's the first and only stop on the press tour.
No, you've booked in ITV.
Yeah.
Good Morning Britain next week.
Yeah, Piers Morgan's gone from Good Morning Britain, so I'm going to go and plug my stuff on there next week.
Yeah, they're finally allowed to plug drum and bass on there.
Yeah, they've been slacking on the drum and bass plugging on. I feel like some people, quite a lot of your listeners in Oz, are they going to know what the fuck we're talking about? They'll know about the Piers Morgan thing, but...
Yeah, Piers Morgan left his show because he was insensitive to Meghan Markle's...
I mean, she said she was
suicidal.
Yeah, and he's called her a liar. So, I mean, it's just the most
Yeah.
fucked up response you can possibly give someone who's expressed those kind of feelings. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Living in this country, I've gotten like a little window into English culture. And like the tabloids and the media and the royal family is just such a like cacophony of bullshit, essentially. Like it's so publicized and just like, it's gross. I find it very gross.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting to see, while I'm in this country, to see little cracks forming in the monarch, if you will. If you think about the whole Prince Andrew being a nonce thing.
Yeah.
And now
Confirmed.
this coming out about Harry and is her name Meghan or Meghan?
I think it's Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan
Yeah.
leaving the royal family, and
Yeah.
this interview with Oprah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, I just never really cared that much about the royal family, like enough to like them or dislike them. But
Yeah.
I think, you know, a lot of the stuff that's coming out recently, you know, particularly the way they handled the Prince Andrew stuff is just, it's mad to me. I wonder whether they're super behind in how they think the world consumes information, and they still think that they can just kind of not address something and not deal with it. And the problem will just go away. That kind of just doesn't happen anymore because people definitely haven't forgotten about the Prince Andrew thing. Like you see, it's anytime anything bad comes up and the royal family have to deal with it. That's there. People aren't forgetting that. And I think the way they've allegedly probably bullied Meghan and Harry, that people won't forget that either. But it's definitely like, I mean, people are torn. Like I'm definitely on the side of Meghan and Harry, without a doubt. But I saw some poll yesterday that said the country was split. But I think that's I think it's likely that the kind of older generation are still very much like, yeah, British royal family, we love that shit. And
Yeah.
if you're below the age of 40, you're probably less likely to care.
They're probably also, the older people would probably be like, we've all gone through troubles in our life. You know, you've just got to pull your bootstraps up and deal with it.
Yeah.
Sure, she felt a bit sad, but,
Yeah.
everyone feels sad from time to time. Like, just absolutely not understanding anything about mental health.
Yeah, yes, totally. They're from the generation of, just pull yourself together,
Yeah.
It's
Eat a couple of roast potatoes and you won't be depressed anymore.
Exactly. Just have some beef and gravy and some carrots. Whereas our generation, I don't know, I like to think a lot more experienced and sympathetic and evolved in the way they think about mental health issues and just generally issues around the whole world, to be honest.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I can even tell that, like, if I have discussions with my parents about stuff, it's clear that and I don't even think that I'm particularly like woke or super aware of a bunch of stuff, but I have conversations with my parents about social issues and that kind of thing, and it's just kind of beyond their world so much. Like our worldview is just so wide.
Yeah.
With the internet and with social media and that type of stuff, and theirs is just a lot smaller. And I mean, yeah. It's not exactly an excuse for not being more aware of stuff, but I kind of understand that they're not.
I suppose, I don't know, it kind of works both ways. It kind of works to our advantage in a way that we have access to more information and more mediums to access that information, but then also like that becomes an issue for us as well, because we're given all of this data that our brain can't, which way do we go? We almost have too much on our plate to make our decision and form. I think it's really difficult to form opinions, but just based on what we have, because I'm not articulating this properly. But you know what I mean? Like, because there's it's really difficult for me to form opinions, so I just I just don't. But because we have so much available to us, we're almost drowning in stuff.
Absolutely. It's an information overload.
100%.
You can't like have a job, have a hobby, and be the most informed person in the world. Like, if you want to be the most informed person and you want to spend a lot of your day on Twitter or Facebook and like calling out people and throwing down facts and all this stuff, you have to be like just a news junkie and double checking sources and like reading articles all day. Like, I know I don't have fucking time for that. Yeah. I've got so much better and more interesting shit to do that I would much prefer just to either make up facts, misremember facts, or just be like, I listened to this on a podcast somewhere and I'm pretty sure this is true.
Yeah, I'm way happier to come across as a bit stupid than spend all my time trying to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Obviously, you don't want to come across as stupid, but yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Everyone's got that, one or two people on their Facebook feed who, like, I don't understand how they, number one, spend so much time writing these really, really long, usually pretty informative, and things I agree with. They're like articles, like
they're usually really well written.
Yeah, really, really well written.
It is like reading an article, but it's just on someone's status.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to do that. I'm just not articulate enough. I have my views and I spout them off, and they're probably bullshit sometimes. But I enjoy it. Okay.
Yeah, that's all that fucking matters.
I had a big unfollow spree on Instagram the other day. I was following like over 1,000 people. Like, I didn't even realize. It's like I kind of thought, like, how the fuck am I following that many people? And why do I do what's the point in following that many people? Like, there's no way you need no way you can consume that amount of people's content from their lives and it mean anything to you.
No, not at all.
So I follow. There was loads of just fucking random people. I think I got it down to like 500, and I still don't know how I'm meant to follow 500 people's lives. It's still too much. But I don't. There's the whole like issue with unfollowing people is if you unfollow someone and then they see you've unfollowed, then they'll when you see them, but they'll just be. The people take real fucking offense to unfollowing. Like, would you care if someone unfollowed you?
No. I mean, if it was someone that I really liked.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, like if you unfollowed me, I would.
Yeah.
One, I don't think I'd know because I don't follow you. No, I don't think I'd get notification about it. I think you just disappear.
The thing is, people like. If I unfollow someone on social media, that doesn't mean that I don't like them in real life. It just means that their social media thing is just not something I want to follow or be a part of.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, are probably myself included, have a different kind of persona online than they do in real life. And I think that's just humans as a whole. I don't think a lot of people project their true... We all know people don't project their true lives and true selves on social media. It's not fucking real. Can I swear on this, by the way?
No.
Okay, it's not bleeping.
No, of course it's not. It's not bleeping real. No, of course you can swear. You can just say whatever you want.
It's not real. So, yeah, I don't know. If someone unfollowed me, even if it was like a close friend, I don't think it would bother me. I wouldn't take it personally.
No, I don't think you can.
Social medially, I would take it with extreme offense, and I would do everything I could to fuck up their social media and get it hacked. But in real life, we're cool.
Yeah. You start just a purely social media vendetta against that person.
But you're completely fine with the person in real life.
I would ask them, like, if it was someone I'm friends with, I'd be like, hey, you unfollowed me, like, why? I was just wondering why. If they're like, oh, it's just like, I'm not interested in seeing what you're posting about whatever, your music or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because I do that. Like, I've had friends that maybe change their personal account into like a business account
Yeah.
for their new venture. And then they just post a lot because that's what you have to do when you have a business on social media.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to learn or see heaps of stuff about your special creams or whatever you're selling. So I just unfollow that person. I'm like, I'm not interested.
Need to take that into consideration. I'm talking about if people unfollowed if it was like my music account, like the Linguistics thing where I just post pictures of crowds and I suppose there is stuff of like there's a fair bit of actual life on there, but I would understand why if one of my friends who isn't involved in the music industry just got a bit bored and was like, all I was getting was just shots of you from crowds constantly or whatever, and that wouldn't bother me, because I see that as the same way you're talking about if your friend makes a hand cream business or a plant pot business or I don't know. I mean it's not them, so it's like I didn't agree to follow this.
Yeah, and I mean, unless it's like something that I really do enjoy. Like if basically the rule should just be if the content serves you, then keep following them.
Yeah, totally.
But if it doesn't, stop following them. Like I need to go do another cult because I mean, I think I'm still following this guy that I met in a nightclub in 2010.
Yeah.
And we just like, I think I was buying a shot of Black Sambuca and he was like, Black Sambuca's fucking sick. And I was like, yeah, bro, Black Sambuca's sick. And we just had a few shots of Black Sambuca. We just spent like a couple of hours, as you do in nightclubs.
Yeah. Everyone's got those people.
We like added on Facebook and then threw that on Instagram. And then like I saw that he had his second child the other day. And I don't even fucking know this guy's name right now. I could like, he comes up on the feed, but I do not know who he is. I don't know who his wife is. I don't know anything about him. Yet he's still on my Instagram.
Yeah, it's so random, man.
There's too many people like that.
Yeah. Someone was telling me the other day they had a friend, well, like not a friend, a person who they met at Letter Roll, like hammered, whatever, years ago. Hadn't seen anything of them online, and then literally for years. And then a couple of months ago, this dude comes up in their Instagram or Facebook feed and just starts spouting anti-vaxxer shit. Just like, who is this dude? And then he was like, oh yeah, it's that guy from the fucking campsite at Let It Roll. It's just cold stuff from your life that doesn't serve a purpose. Absolutely. Yeah, we're too overloaded. Our brains are too busy, and there's no shame in that. People shouldn't be made to feel bad about trying to get rid of stuff from their lives that doesn't add to their being as a human.
No, it's strange that we try to stay off social media as much as possible, but unfortunately, in our business, it's like a necessary evil.
Do you think you'd have it if you didn't do music? Do you think you'd?
Yeah, I mean, I've still got a personal Instagram. Like,
oh, I didn't know that. Oh wait, yeah, I did.
That's the one you don't follow.
What? Do I
no, you started following. No, you started following me like a week ago or something.
No way. You don't follow my personal one either. No one even knows about my personal one. That's a secret.
You got a personal one?
Yeah.
Wow, this is a admission. A live podcast admission. Max Linguistics has a personal Instagram page. If you can search it and find it, you can win 2 free tickets to our next show.
Is that actually going to be a...
Sure, why not?
Okay, I found it. Can I have 2 tickets, please?
But like, I wouldn't care about it. But I'd have it because I'd probably have it and just share more photography stuff.
Yeah,
that I like.
Yeah, that's why
I should probably do that anyway.
Yeah, you should do that. What do you
But
share
I
on?
wouldn't-
What do you share on your personal one now?
Mostly just like film photos.
Oh, is it like a? Oh yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty arty. What's this cat? I just loaded up your Instagram. There's this moody ass cat.
Did you ever meet?
No, is that your
Wilson?
cat? No.
Nah. So that's when I was living in when I was living in Broccoli.
Oh my god, this cat looks like Winston Churchill.
I used to call him Winston accidentally. His name's Wilson. And he's like the Brooks Brothers cat because I was staying at
This is Brooks.
their
This
house.
is like it's Dan.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, it's like it's Nick, like it's Dan's younger brother Nick, his cat, but it's like the family cat.
That is an awesome cat.
Yeah, I kind of like inherited the house and therefore the caring of Wilson.
Amazing.
He got me through lockdown 1.
Really?
Yeah.
How what do you find worse? What lockdown?
Lockdown 1 or lockdown 2?
What lockdown are we on now? Is it 3 or 4 or 2?
I think this is 3.
Okay, that's a good.
Didn't we go on a when was the circuit breaker one? The circuit breaker one was in December, right? No, we were open in December.
I don't know. There was that time when everything was split into tiers, and they split the country in different tiers, and people in Bristol could go for a pint, but if you're in London, you couldn't. I think that was that December, and then they pretty much shut it all down for Christmas. Yeah, we went into full lockdown in January again, I think.
Yeah. Third lockdown.
Yeah, third lockdown. This one's 100% the shittest one out of all of them.
You reckon?
Yeah, this one sucks, Brian. I hate it. The first one, I'm not gonna lie, I quite liked it, especially the first like 2 months.
Yeah, because the first one was then like, it was like a holiday.
Yeah, it kind of was. Like I'm saying that from a very privileged position because I managed to get a bit of help from our government.
Yeah,
so that I was very thankful. If you're
furloughed,
yeah, if you're furloughed, you're probably pretty silently going yes under your breath.
Yeah.
But, if not, then it was a troubling time. But I mean, regardless of that, I think even before like the furlough or any support was announced, I remember going for a walk and just thinking, like, this is probably the calmest I've felt in a really long time, because it just took the stress of the world away pretty immediately. And I think I didn't realize how kind of not stressed, but probably slightly close to burning out a bit and pretty just running on adrenaline constantly, basically. And it wasn't until that kind of went away and the world shut down that I was like, oh, this is what calm feels like.
Yeah. And do you think you've been able to maintain that over the past year?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing. I think that feeling of calm and that prolonged feeling of calm was like a bit of a reminder for me that I don't want to go back to how I was feeling before we all went into lockdown at all.
Did you, because we opened up a bit, we opened up a bit in July, I want to say, August, July?
Yeah, July to...
So did you feel like, it didn't go back to normal at all, but there were a couple of tastes of normality, if you will.
Yeah, in July, people were mixing outdoors a bit.
Yeah.
And you were able to see people slightly more often in a more relaxed environment.
I guess I'm thinking about that day that we went and got pissed at
when?
and went to the Tate.
Oh yeah. That was wicked. Yeah.
And things like going to Seb's party.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait. What?
So because like that was in
you could
September.
do that. Yeah.
So you could kind of like, there was a time when it was kind of back to normality, and there was
slightly. Yeah, it was slightly. Yeah. Of course, Seb's party was then. Yeah.
Did you feel like, going to that first lockdown, you slow down, the calmness of life starts to bleed in. And then as that first lockdown was coming to an end and it started to ramp back up, you know, you're seeing more people, talks of like festivals and music kind of coming back before we knew it wasn't going to come back.
Yeah.
Did you feel stressed at that idea? Or were you like, I've had the breather and now I'm ready to dive back underwater, but I'm just not going to go as deep?
I can't really remember. I think by that point I was really, really missing shows. Like I always missed doing shows anyway, but like at the beginning I was kind of happy to just chill for a bit and hope that shows would come back in a few months. But by the time that September came and realised that was just it was not going to happen, I can't really remember how I felt about it. It's weird. It's kind of odd because I've had the calm but then I kind of have been up and down since that. I think it changed from day to day. One day I was like, oh, this is good that things are opening up a little bit and there's maybe a sense of normality. But then another day I'd be super overwhelmed and worried about what shows were going to be like. You know, the safety of people, how are they going to be able to keep people safe? So I think since September up right until now is just up and down wave of emotions, and they change depending on a number of factors on how you're feeling on that day. And that's now I take everything a day at a time and try not to panic if I'm not feeling excited when I feel like I should be feeling excited, or that I should be feeling sad when I'm feeling sad when I shouldn't be feeling sad, or you know.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I've felt the worst in December.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this when I chatted to my friend back home this morning. I was like, I think I felt my lowest in December, January.
Mm-hmm.
Which I credit to seasonal, what is it? SADS.
Seasonal affective disorder.
Seasonal affective disorder. A bit, but also just like it all getting a bit long. It all getting a bit long, and there was some kind of personal issues that we were dealing with at the time. And I feel like coming off the back of that, I've actually felt quite a lot better in the past month.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing has been up and down since about a year ago, because it's now coming up to like fucking in 3 days, it will be a year since I contracted COVID.
Whoa. It's mad. It's mad out. It's crazy. It's a year.
It's really insane. Yeah, the first one felt like a bit of a holiday for a short portion of time and a bit fun, and then the reality of it set in. At the beginning of the last one, I wasn't working. I had savings, so I was like, I think I had about a month or something of not working. I was actually doing some production tutorials, one-on-one sessions over Zoom with some guys. And I remember being like, this is cool. I can settle in to this. And then I kind of realized that I needed more money and started working. Once you get that taste of normality with work, but you're still going home to an empty house and you can't see anyone, it's kind of like...
Yeah, shit, you were on your own for a while, weren't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said Wilson was
absolutely
a savior, because he was like my little buddy I could talk to.
Yeah.
If he shat on the ground, I could shower him. I could shave him.
Yeah.
Which I didn't do for fun, but I just did out of necessity.
Yeah.
But like, it was weird to have a kind of taste of normality, but then have such an abnormal thing on the side. I remember clearly going to work one day, and then the next day I had to go shopping, and you lined up for the shops, and everyone was wearing gloves and masks. And I think it's the one time I wore plastic gloves to the shops. Maybe one of the first times I went to the shops. I mean, I remember buying like a fucking kilo, like 3 kilos of rice or something, being like, okay, if...
Were you one of the people who was ruining all the shops?
No, but I went to the shops when people were ruining it, and I felt like, you know, look, I'm only buying a fucking 6-pack of beer and some cigarettes and something else, but I may as well also buy a pound of flour and a pound of rice just in case.
Yeah.
But there were, man, when I did that, there were people buying like, so obviously the toilet paper debacle was ridiculous.
Oh my, yeah, wow. That was a...
They were just going crazy on everything. I remember like Sainsbury's was like bare. Everything was bare.
Everything was. There was no pasta. I felt like in our Sainsbury's, the one just up the road from where I am now, it's a big Sainsbury's. There was I feel like there was 2 or 3 weeks where we were lucky to get a thing of pasta if when we went there. They were usually just all gone. That kind of blew my mind. I didn't really understand the madness of that. And also, what the fuck have the people done with all the shit they took? Is there people with like containers full of toilet roll?
Yeah.
They just haven't used. They're just gonna... What do they do? Sell them back?
They just hold it. They put it in the shed and they just hold it for a rainy day.
I mean, I feel for them because you're not going to do that unless you genuinely feel that you are that scared and worried about things. So in a way, I'm thankful that I didn't experience that fear to that level and anxiety to that level, that I felt that I had to go out and do that
Absolutely.
I guess most people are trying to protect themselves and their families, aren't they, in that situation? But yeah, man, I'm glad I didn't ever do that.
I think it's interesting and kind of telling how we feel about shit and going to the toilet in general, to know that like people's number one priority was to make sure that they could wipe their ass in a fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
Like worst case scenario, splash some water on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or use a towel, or you know, there's
splash some water.
there's a workaround. Yet people were like, if this thing goes tits up, we're going to need at least 2,000 pounds of toilet paper.
Yeah, and while you're at it, I like eating pasta while I wipe my ass. So get a load of that.
All I need is pasta and toilet paper. Coming out of this one, because obviously there's now a roadmap to normality that's been released by the government.
Mm-hmm.
How has that made you feel since the announcement?
So, I mean, purely based on the fact that our government have just handled the whole thing in a pretty terrible way. And, you know, we've been told various things at various points, that things are going to happen and they haven't. So I'm cautious about getting too excited, about it. But then also I don't want to stop myself from experiencing a bit of excitement, because I think that's needed. So I'm managing my expectations. It's great. But the thing is, my main thing is I want to go see my mum. I want to go see my sister. I want to go see my nephew. I want to hug my mum, hug my family. That's what I really want. Everything else with shows and festivals and going to the pub and stuff like that is obviously something I want to do, but my main priority is the family stuff. So if we can get to a point where that's possible, that's the thing I'm more excited about. And that's what matters to me for the government roadmap. If we can get that, if what they're saying is if their whole roadmap thing is accurate and we can come out of this, then in the time frame they think we can, then great, because it will mean that I can go and see those people who mean the most to me.
How long has it been since you've seen your mum or your sister?
So I've been for like walks with my mum, like outside. We've had a couple of walks. She's been you know, super nervous about it all, which is you know, fair enough. You know, she's slightly older, and I would say
She's
her age.
150 years old.
She's she's like 892 years old.
Yeah, she's like Gilgamesh, or no, Methuselah in the Bible. So your mum is nearly 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
So
She'd kill me if she heard me say that. My mum's not 1,000 years old, and she doesn't look 1,000 years old. She doesn't act 1,000 years old. There's nothing about her that's 1,000 years old.
she looks fantastic. She's youthful. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's amazing.
She's fantastic. But understandably, she's been more nervous and worried about
Yeah, for sure.
the potentially devastating effects of COVID. So we haven't seen each other properly for almost a year.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to getting back to being able to see her, and also like my nephew. My nephew's we won in a bit, and God, my brain is terrible. Yeah, I think he's won in a bit, and and I've missed a big part of his life. Him growing up. So I want to get back to be able to be in a part of his life as well. So yeah, they're the main things. But yeah, I'm babbling now.
You feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel.
It looks to be so. Like, yeah, I mean, everything with the vaccine rollout seems to be going well. My mum's had the vaccine. She gets her second jab April 20th, I think. So that'll be a big relief. So I think there'll be a lot of change over the coming months. I don't know if we'll get out of it as quick as the government are saying we will. I think there's always stuff that can go wrong and things happen unexpected. That's one thing the last year has definitely taught us. So yeah, I'm cautious, and I'm cautiously excited.
Okay.
But not completely blocking off the excitement, because I think that if it is possible, I think you should be a bit excited, and people need to be excited.
Yeah,
it's important,
and that's what's giving people. I mean, that's hope, isn't it? Because the idea, if the government came out and were like, "We're staying locked down until June," people would be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But this glimmer of hope is kind of what the country needs.
Yeah.
And what the world needs. Like,
yeah, totally.
There's got to be some sort of reprieve from this. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I guess that's one thing that I'm excited to go back home and enjoy, like,
yeah,
normality.
I mean, you've had a hell of a ride since you got here. Cause
it's
when did you arrive? September 2019, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had like a few months of kind of life here.
Yeah.
And then just, man, that is a unique travel experience. I mean, yeah, I mean, you've got a story for life there. Like when your grandkids are like, what did you do when you went traveling, Granddad? You're like, well, there was a fucking pandemic in London. And they dealt with it worse than any other country in the world. So we were super bad. What do you think your fondest memories of being here are going to be?
I mean, just all the times that I've spent with people that I love. Meeting new people, laughing, spending time with you.
Yeah.
Spending time with Seb, spending time with Luke.
Yeah.
Just funny times, man. Spending time with Jake.
Yeah.
Rob. Just being able to call someone who previously I would only see once a year.
Yeah.
Being like, do you want to go down to the pub?
Yeah.
And be like, yeah. And that has been like beautiful to me, because like obviously I want to see and get to know and like become better friends with all these people, and being here has allowed me to do that. And like, just any times that I've done that, I'm just trying to think of specific times.
Donut runs
have been pretty fucking good.
Yeah, they have been good,
man. Like, I was thinking the other day, I did pretty well to fit quite a lot of interesting shit into my life in quite a short amount of time. Like, I got to go to Printworks.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go to Ministry of Sound. We played Fabric.
Yeah.
I still got to experience some of the things that being in London and living in London have to offer.
Yeah.
One of my favorite nights was actually probably going to Printworks.
Yeah, that place is crazy.
It was for the Ram night, and I was filming for Culture Shock, and we just were drinking and laughing, and I think I went out to a F45 party.
The gym.
The gym had like it was the end of the challenge. So F45
right.
challenge is like 45 days of, you're supposed to eat really well and go by this plan and stuff. And I was doing it. And then the night of the end of challenge party was the same night as James was playing at Printworks. So I went to Printworks, had drinks, had lots of laughs, and then got dropped off at a pub and met up with all of the fucking F45 people and went crazy.
You had like a double.
I had like 3
celebration.
We went back to one of the guys' house after, and it was just like a continuation of the party. It was just like it was such a great night.
Do you feel like I feel like whenever I get into speaking about memories like that now, because it's been so long since I've had like a night out like that, like it feels I get really visual. Like when you were just explaining that story, I was like looking at the screen, just like I'm in Printworks right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to this F45 party, bro. Like, well, I can even see what the after party house looked like, even though I've never been there. It's mad.
It's like remembering a dream at this point.
Yeah,
like,
it's fucked. I was watching an after movie this morning. It just came up on my Facebook memories. A reminder. It was I think it was the last show, maybe second last show me and Ed did. It was Let It Roll Winter in Prague. And I was, just watching this. I watched this minute loop for about 20 minutes in bed this morning, just like, oh, what the hell? I can't even believe that. It doesn't feel like I did that. And I'm looking at pictures of me, videos of me on the stage.
Yeah.
Like, going mad. And I just, it's hard. It's kind of, it's hard to process because you're looking at something that is clearly you, but you don't feel like you did that because
it's so detached to what your reality is right now.
Yeah, it's weird how you can become so detached from experience so quickly.
Yeah.
It's odd. I don't know whether it would change if I watched it more, but yeah, it's kind of hard watching it all and not knowing when it will happen again.
When I went to Cologne and played a show in November last year.
Oh yeah, you had that show.
Which was very lucky. I remember playing and being like, this is the greatest thing. Like, this is like a fucking life-changing experience.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking and messaging Jeff afterwards being like, this is what's been missing. Kind of like, I need this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I have to play loud music in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
Or like there's like needs to be that performance aspect or something, and it's like this has been the missing piece of the puzzle that I haven't had.
Yeah,
but again, it's like you have a taste of that, and then
it goes again. It
goes, and you miss that feeling, but the feeling, like the fit. Okay, so when I'm trying to explain this. I'm trying to explain the feeling. You know how when you come, you feel the orgasm, right? You feel it.
I don't know. It's never happened for me.
And and then straight after, it's like you instantly forget how that feels like or exactly what it feels like. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like this mystical moment that's very difficult to describe. That's how I feel about the last time I played a DJ set.
Oh yeah, you can use that analogy. I'm going to use the analogy of when you're ill and you can't remember what it feels like to not feel ill.
Yes.
It's that.
That's exactly.
Did you ever do that when you
all the time.
when you're just ill and then you're like, oh, I just want to know what it feels like to not feel like this? and you can't. Yeah, I get what you mean.
You make promises. You make so many promises. You're like, oh, if I get better, I'll never smoke a cigarette again, or like, I'll never eat bad food, or I'll never do this. And then you get better, and you're like, let's go out and get fucked up.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what you were saying about how when you did the show in Cologne, it made you feel like
I was coming on stage. Yeah.
Is that what it was? Did you come in your pants while you were in Cologne? Is that what happened?
I double dropped our latest single, Discipline, and then I shot a load into my pants. That's what happens every time I play our songs, actually, in sets.
God,
Fun little Easter egg.
You're so fucking arrogant.
I know, right? I love it.
And it's only your tunes that make that.
Only our tunes. Only our songs.
No, but I was gonna say, like, if you don't do something for so long, you can forget how important it is to you.
Yeah, totally.
Like this week, like releasing music again. It's the first time I've released a track for I think like nearly a year. I mean, and also it being my release, I've done features, but I haven't released one of my own tunes for a couple of years.
Yeah,
and that's plenty of time to place a lot of doubt in myself. I think of being like, should you really be doing this? Just around music in general and whatever. But like this last couple of weeks is like started the release dates got nearer and nearer. Yeah. Now I started all the promo and stuff for it. It's had a similar effect on me. Like the way your gig kind of reminded you that you need to do this and this is what you should be doing. The build up to the release that's happening on Friday has kind of done that for me as well. And it's a reminder, isn't it?
It kind of kickstarts that part of your brain that has laid dormant for a little bit.
Yeah. But it's weird how quickly we can detach ourselves from something that's clearly really integral to our being and how, who we want to be as people and what we want to live our lives doing. It's a pretty major thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's almost like a coping mechanism. Like your mind subconsciously goes, okay, I know you're not going to be able to do this thing for a certain period of time. So we're just going to shut off that valve and just forget about it a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's an interesting take. I think there's definitely a lot of truth in that. It's like a self-preservation thing.
Yeah.
So, if I don't think about that too much and I don't associate that to be such an important thing, and I suppose it's your value, isn't it? Pretty much everything you value about yourself stems from being an artist and the art you put out to the world. So once that's taken away and it's out of your control, as a coping mechanism, as you say, that's what your mind is going to do.
Yeah,
it's just going to try and shut it out. I wonder whether that's it's probably what's happened, really.
And I'm sure there's people that have dealt with it better than I probably have.
I mean, you just deal with it terribly, man.
Yeah, I do. I do deal with it terribly. I think
I'm really joking.
I think there's been people that have been really productive and that can kind of push through that resistance.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get better at doing that. And I think it's just been very difficult. I mean, it's been a fucking weird year.
There is such a unique experience for everyone going through this whole thing that we're all going through and have been through in the last year. It's not one of those ones. I have a friend who runs a business, and she was saying how she was worried because looking back, reflecting on stuff, looking back and seeing what other people have done, there's things that she could have done with her business to adapt to things and do whatever. And I said to her, I was like, now is not the time to be looking at comparisons of what other people have done and trying to and beating yourself up about things. It's just not at all. Some people will have dealt with it. Some people will have dealt with it by getting stuck in and, you know, battling through it every day and sitting in the studio for 22 hours a day and doing that. That's some people's coping mechanism. Personally, that's not mine. If I to avoid me going into deep depression and going to a place where I've been before and I know I don't ever want to go again, I have to really, really take care of myself. And a lot of taking care of myself, I know, isn't stressing myself, isn't putting my body through stress of not sleeping right and, you know, probably not eating correctly and, you know, not exercising. It's, you know, it's doing it's having all that sort of stuff under control and being kind to myself and saying, if you want to chill today and don't feel bad.
Yeah.
And I'm good at it sometimes, but sometimes I'm not. But I mean, I say the same thing to you that I said to my friend, like, you can't be looking at what other people have done in the last year. And if they have written 15 albums and they come out and they're all great, good for them. Like, who gives a fuck? At least you're here and you're present and you're happy. That's all that matters, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's very true that everyone's coping mechanism is very different. But one of the things I've probably learnt is that in the past, how unhealthy my coping mechanism could be.
Yeah.
Like, and that's probably a major difference between this lockdown and the last lockdown.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The coping mechanism of, you know, more booze.
Yeah.
Alcohol is definitely like a huge coping mechanism for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's been less present in this lockdown because I've kind of been so aware of how much I would reach for a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
After a tough day. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. You're totally right. It is subjective and you can't compare your scenario or your situation, rather, to anyone else's experience.
Yeah, totally. It's fully unique.
Yeah. Unique just like you.
A what?
Unique just like you.
Unique just like everyone. Literally everyone is unique. Damn, that is just dropping knowledge. I'm fully joking. Unique like everybody.
Wow. Mind blown.
Want to get your mind blown? You're not the same as anyone else on earth.
What?
Oh, man.
Jeez.
I can't stand shit like that.
What, like super positive?
Nah, not
or like fake.
Nah, like fake woke. Fake wokeness. It just does my nut. Like, you know, when someone says like, I know, yeah, something literally like what we just said. They think it's mad profound, but it's actually just what it is. It's like that, but it's always in like the way they say it. It's like, this toast has peanut butter on it. So therefore, it's going to taste like peanuts. It's like, no fucking...
It's amazing that if you can say anything like that and it sounds super profound.
Yeah. If you use like the word eyes or something like that in it, it makes it sound even more. Your eyes are your eyes only. Wow.
You see the world through your eyes.
No fucking shit.
Right? They're all things that are like, duh. Like they're like duh things.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck? It's just...
You can only breathe 1 second at a time. And no shit.
Oh my God.
But if it's written in nice font behind a flowery image,
yeah,
then actually people, you know, there's a cynical part of me that's just like, fuck off to all that stuff. But there's also a part of me that has been having a bad day and I come across someone being like, just like, hey, take a breath because it's one breath of a million or something. And I'm like, okay. And you do it or you
something like, this moment is not forever. Something like that. Yeah. It's like, oh, no shit. Yeah, that's kind of, I know what you mean. I have to remind myself sometimes not to be so
Cynical.
So cynical about things. But I also, my cynicism comes from a place of, I find like cynicism, sarcastic cynicism quite funny. Yeah, it's what makes me laugh. I like people who are like that as well. Because I know, I almost like know they're not serious, and I know that they actually love knowing that they're the person who sees the world through their eyes.
Yeah.
But
I think cynicism is very funny, and I think there's a lot of humor to be found in, like, you know, taking the piss out of that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I also do find there's some benefit to some of it. I wanted to ask you a question. When is your first gig back?
If the roadmap thing works out, then looks like is it 21st of June that things are normal?
21st or 24th?
Then it could be potentially El Dorado Festival, or there's one in Portugal with Ed and Camo and Crooked. So one of those, I'm guessing. So I'm keeping all my fingers crossed. What about you? Are you excited to get home and play shows? You must be fucking excited to do that.
Yeah, I am, but it's a constant state of switching between the excitement to go home and play shows and then the sadness of having to leave.
Yeah, but you're not going to leave forever.
No. I'll be back.
You fucking better not. I'll be fuming.
I'll be back.
You better, bro.
You better come back, bro. This is the last time we're going to talk today.
That's it.
This is our goodbye.
Oh, man.
Spending the whole time looking not at each other because we're looking at the monitors.
We're not even looking at each other's.
I'm excited to play shows, and again, because it's like that feeling, the feeling that I felt in Cologne. Like I want that feeling. I want to feel like I'm a DJ again, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
I have like a real. Only in the last like month or so, I've developed a bit of anxious energy about whether I can remember what to do and how to like do it. And I'm worried that like I know that it will just come back like muscle memory over a few shows. But I'm worried that the first few shows I'm just gonna feel like really like exposed on stage in front of however many people and just not know what to do.
You're gonna grab the mic and be like, "Hey, my name's Max Linguistics. Everybody, put your hands up." Like look at Ed and be like,
pick the mic up and speaking to the wrong end. Or
yeah, just all over the shop. I think you'd be fine.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Max? Man? Like, it's only been a year. Like,
I've heard you MC recently.
You poor soul.
You'd be fine.
When did you hear me MC recently?
We did some MCing.
When?
When we've seen each other.
We do MC a lot. That's what we do.
I'm trying to improve my MC skills, but like you've got it. It's in you. It's in your blood. It's just like riding a bike. And I'm sure if the show's like if it's open and it's all good, it'll be like, think how fucking excited you're going to be to walk out on stage, and the first time you greet those people, you're going to be like, what the fuck is up, El Dorado Festival? Yeah,
it's going to be mad. Yeah, it's... I'm just hoping it can happen sooner rather than later. But it will happen when the time is right, when it's safe, and that's the most important thing. Everyone needs to be safe doing it. I just don't want to go back into another one of these flipping lockdowns.
Yeah. I really believe that the vaccines are going at a good pace. What I think will probably happen is that festivals, there was talk of festivals doing like vaccine passports. So if you had a vaccine, you could go. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the route of getting things open more, or like clubs having rapid tests. So if you've
flow testing
to protect people, So I think that means that things can go back to normal quicker.
Yeah, potentially.
Man, I just can't wait to like the first party
Yeah.
and being like looking around and
Yeah.
sharing a cigarette with a stranger and contracting COVID-19.
Yeah. Do you think people are going to be way more careful about,
Mate,
yo, can I have a
Yeah.
sip from your bottle? You'd be like, no, of course you can't. I don't know if you've been
Yeah.
near any bats.
like, man, absolutely. Like, I cannot believe the things that we used to do.
Yeah. What's one thing that we used to do that you just can't believe that we used to do?
Sharing cigarettes.
Yeah.
For me, I think like that's got to be like people would often say like, "Oh, can I have a drag of cigarette?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." Or you'd share a cigarette with a friend, or like sharing drinks.
Yeah.
It's mostly just things that you're putting in your mouth.
I don't know why. Why did I?
I know why you did. Because you're a fucking juvenile.
Oh man. One day I'll grow up. One day.
Never. No, don't grow up.
No.
It's that silly energy that keeps you young.
I want to grow up in certain ways. I don't want to grow up in other ways.
What way do you want to grow up in?
Emotionally, probably. I feel like
I think you've grown up emotionally though.
Yeah. No, I have, but I've not emotionally. Emotionally, I'm old. I'm like Yoda. No, I'm joking. No, I don't know. I think probably emotionally, I still have some growing to do. Mainly spiritually, I need to be more woke and understand that my eyes are one of a kind.
What do you think your biggest emotional weakness? Or something that you're conscious that you're working on?
I don't know. I think emotionally, this isn't really emotional, but it's I'm trying to make better decisions and create better habits. That's been my main thing from the beginning of this year. And there's like I've really, really, really tried to focus on better habits and sticking to them. Because we've spoken about this before. Like we're pretty bad at sticking to stuff that we know, even when we know it's good for us.
Yeah.
So I've tried to, that's something I've been focusing on a lot. So I've got loads of new habits that I've adopted that I've managed to stick to.
How are you finding them since you began? Because we're like we're 2.5 months in.
Yeah, I mean, there was at the beginning I did like dry Jan and stuff like that. So that was kind of part of probably part of the building of discipline for me, because I never really done dry Jan or anything like that. So that served as like a way to test my self discipline, but longer term, I wanted to stop watching my laptop screen before I went to bed. I just used to watch fucking Netflix and Family Guy and stuff, and then fall asleep super after you sleep. So I stopped doing that. I wanted to journal before I went to bed, and I wanted to read when I got up in the morning, right before I checked my phone. And the reading when I get up in the morning is the one that's really stuck, and I really it's the first thing I think about when I wake up is like, oh, sick, I can just go and read in the living room for a bit. That's one that's really helped. So they're three things that I've actually managed to stick to them. There are a few other things like making to-do lists that I kind of wanted to do, but I think I was trying to do too much at once. I think I might try and adopt the to-do list thing further down the line. I still do it like when I remember to do it, but it's not quite a habit. A habit is, when you do something naturally without even thinking about it. The other things are just natural things now that I do.
Yeah. It's a surefire way to not continue a habit is to try to do 10 habits at once.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just choose one, once that one becomes an actual habit, then you can easily take on another one. And as you build your cachet of habits. They become a lot easier to kind of take on.
I'd never like someone recommended to me. I read Atomic Habits by a guy called, I think his name's James Clear. I started reading that when I was at like literally the same day. That was the book that I started reading every morning, and it breaks down like the logic of how we perform, how we develop habits, and how we stick to them. And I never thought about it to such a deep level that book explained to me, and it made it so much easier to stick to them. And one of them is you don't try and change too much too soon, because you won't stick to any of them. So yeah, it's better to get a couple down, and then if there's other things you want to implement into your life, then do it as and when you need to.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. You actually bought me that book, and
I did. You haven't read it?
I have yet to start reading it.
Oh my God, Jono.
Which is the worst habit of them all.
What?
I haven't started because I'm trying to finish off. I finished my fiction books that I've read, and now I'm trying to finish a small non-fiction book that I bought before that one. But really, that's just a form of procrastination. I think I could just sit down and easily read one chapter today.
I feel like the start of doing stuff is always the hardest part.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a dumb thing that a woke person would say.
The start of doing stuff is the hardest stuff to do. Absolutely. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever.
Holy
I'm just kidding.
I thought I was saying something super.
But it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Like starting something, like, for our runs, the hardest part is making the decision to put on your shoes and going out there. Once you're running, it's easy, essentially. Like
it gets worse for me.
You just got to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier when I'm not with you.
Yeah, me too. And they're not particularly important to me at all. And I can't wait to stop running with you. In fact, let's stop this. Are we done? Yeah, we're done.
I'm not going to cry when you leave, or
I'm definitely not going to cry. I'm definitely not going to cry right now.
I'm not going to cry when you leave, or go on runs and buy two donuts instead of one, and sit with a pigeon and pretend it's you. Oh man,
I know what I'll do. There's like a cardboard cutout of me in Perth at the moment. So maybe I should just build a cardboard cutout of me that can stay here.
Yeah. Why do you have a cardboard cutout of you in Perth?
Jeff made one for a show last year. So like I could be there.
And then he took you.
Yeah, it took us to the show. And now it just lives. It lives in my parents' house, and
that is love right there. That is such love.
My parents like talk to it and stuff.
No way. That's
Mum puts it in. It's just sitting in the kitchen, but Mum will like sometimes position it in the kitchen.
Oh man,
like at the bench, and just kind of chat to it and chatter away.
That's such a deep, like, and prolific. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's such a strong like representation of what love looks like. A mum sat having her dinner looking at a picture of her son who's in another country. Yeah. That's pretty powerful imagery right there, the way I'm picturing it in my head.
Because it's, I think I need to talk to her about it more, but I think it's had like a pretty positive impact on her.
The cardboard cutout has.
Yeah, because like me and my mum have kind of quite deep conversations, and I think that's one aspect of our relationship she's probably missed a bit with me being here to move away from the cardboard cutout. Do you find writing lyrics and writing your rhymes to be either therapeutic or something that just comes naturally? You just have to get it out, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily have so much deep and emotional roots in your mind. It's just more like, I've just got this thing in my head that I need to get out.
I think it's a combination of the two, depending on the type of song. I mean, it's always a form of expression and like a release to me. I always feel like a weight lifted if I write something that I'm happy with. I always feel lighter as a person and feel happier. Without a doubt, writing has always been my therapy. Always, ever since I was 14 when I started. I started writing when things were. I can just hear your throat.
Before you start to tell me about your writing, it's like, my writing's my therapy. It's like really important to me.
It was like,
sorry.
No, it's cool. Yeah, like ever since I was young, when I first started when I was like 14, writing was a way I dealt with problems that were happening. Well, problems probably the wrong word, but my parents had split up. I'd moved schools. I was in a pretty difficult place as a kid when I found writing, and I have no doubt it was a way for me to express my anger in a way that was productive and useful to me, rather than go out and fight and go out and get into trouble and just do things that weren't good for my progress as a young man.
Yeah.
So without a doubt, writing is my therapy, and it always has been since.
You're older now.
Thanks.
You're probably less angry.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you feel that, like, what's motivating you now? Or is it now just a habit?
It's a habit. It's also deeply ingrained as a part of what we're talking about earlier. It's deeply ingrained as a part of who I am and who I see myself as a person. I write lyrics and I write songs, and that's what I've spent years of my life trying to do. So it's even deeper than that now. It is me. Everything I put out is a reflection of me and who I am, and it's, for me personally, it goes so much deeper than just what the words are. It's because it's like the experiences I've had in my life to get to that point where I put that on a page. It's the anxiety and the vulnerability that I find personally really difficult, that is necessary to be able to put that out to the world. So for me, it's way more than just a song. It's like a little part of me that's going to be put out, and it'll be there forever, which is amazing. Which is probably one of the things I love about art so much, whether it's music or film or whatever. I love the fact that you can put something out to the world, and it can be there forever, no matter what people think of it. That's irrelevant to me. That's what my music is to me.
It's like a record of your vulnerability.
Yeah. Well. It's that's just a personal aspect. I don't know if everyone feels that way or feels that way about it. Maybe they do. I think quite a lot of people do. It takes a lot of guts to be able to put anything out to the world, because it's personal, isn't it? Yeah, it's a showing of a lot of things. It's a piece of a lot of me.
Do you think this upcoming EP is your most personal stuff to date?
Yeah, I think there's. All of my releases in the past have always had like stories about me or, my experiences. The EP we're doing, I think we're probably going to do singles, but they're all pretty different. Like the Document 1 tune is like very kind of reminiscent of that feeling when you're in I don't know. I was kind of imagining like being in a field at a festival again, So that's the kind of vibe on that one. The one with well, other people. I don't know if I haven't released them out to the world yet, but like they're all really actually quite different tunes, and some of them contain really deep personal stories about my family, and one of them is actually like a letter to my younger self, that was quite deep to write. But I actually wrote that quite a while ago. There's a lot of personal stuff in there, and there always will be. I find it really difficult to write like abstract, like random, like stuff that just comes out of nowhere. Like I don't get how people do that.
Yeah.
I like some of my songs will be about one situation that happened in my life and the experience I have. Other songs will be based around multiple different experiences I had and emotions I've had through my life, and that will make up the song. So yeah, it depends, but it's all personal. Yeah. Sorry, that was such a fucking long-winded answer.
No, that's good. It's good to give long-winded answers. Like I mean, this is not an interview, but I mean, these are just things that I'm fascinated with about you and your process, because I mean, you're like a lyrics man and I'm the opposite of a lyrics man.
But I imagine it's just a different tool of expression, like the way you put across your sounds. That's still a form of expression, and I imagine that the feeling I get when I write and after I've written I imagine you get the same thing. And like, just because, and it, like, I imagine like an artist who's painting something would get a similar thing. I feel like creation of art, the feeling afterwards is probably quite similar, no matter what that is.
Absolutely, it's the same feeling between doing a drawing, making a song. Really, what it is, it's like getting out of your own way, and it's not thinking, and just it's pure expression. And I think I don't express myself through lyrics, or I'm not attracted to that, because you have to actually put it into words. Like, even in the way in which I produce, like I produce in a very kind of organic, kind of like vomity way. And then the song is kind of revealed to me as I move pieces around.
Sure.
Rather than kind of from the outset being like, okay, I've got this plan and doing it quite succinctly. So yeah, I mean, any kind of expression, any kind of creative expression leaves you feeling that kind of deep satisfaction.
I think it's like, it's a part of it's the part of the brain that you access when you're in creation mode. I think it's the same for everyone. You get into a zone, and you know what it feels like. Like yesterday when I was writing, I got into a real like flow, and I always do. I remind myself, like, oh, you're in the zone. Like this is remember what it feels like to get like this, like, so that you can always get into it. But I mean, obviously, we all know it doesn't work like that. It can come and go, and it can happen or not happen.
Have you read The War of Art?
No, I haven't.
It's by a guy called Stephen Pressfield, and he talks about a bit about flow and about the resistance that we feel, and how he talks about like the muse and how you're kind of like inspiration, and basically how it applies to creation. And there's a quote in it by a famous author. I can't remember his name, but he says, so it's by a writer called William Faulkner. And he says, I only write when I am inspired. Fortunately, I am inspired at 9 o'clock every morning. So the idea is that you sit down and you do the work. And when you do the work, the muse comes.
Yeah.
The muse only comes when you do the work, and that's how you get into the flow. So you kind of just have to sit down and start. Like, you know, I don't know if this happens to you, but when I'm not really feeling like working on music and I sit down and work on music, it takes me a bit longer to get to that point where I'm in flow.
Yeah.
But I usually always get there. Sometimes it's 3 hours, sometimes it's 5 hours. But eventually you get to a spot and you're like, yeah, okay, now I'm creating. Things are coming together and I'm seeing the synchronicities in the art that I'm making.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's like, it makes so much sense. That definitely resonates with me. It's all part of the process. You know, that like the kind of frustration that you might feel at the beginning when it's not really happening, that frustration in itself is creating, because it's part of the process. I mean, to be honest, mate, it's really rare that to be honest, I can't actually think of the last time I literally sat down and I heard something. Sat down, I was like, right, I'm going to write now. Sat down, put a beat on, and just gone boom and done it. Like, I don't think I've ever done that. There's always a kind of, hour or half an hour to an hour, maybe slightly more some days. Yesterday it took me about 2 hours to.
Yeah. I
was flicking through beats and different genres and. Nothing was happening, and then it wasn't until when I kind of usually try and shut off at like 6 o'clock each day, just to try and give myself a bit of structure. But it was like 6:30, and then something came, and then I just wrote for half an hour when I had that good creative flow in me, and that part of my brain was rolling, and then I was happy, and then that's how it can go sometimes. You have 2 hours of nothing and then a half an hour of great. But that's kind of all I need for it to feel worth it.
Yeah. And if you have half an hour of greatness 3 times a week, after a month, you have some really good stuff. You'll have a few songs, or you'll have one really good song, or you'll have something. That's why things with creativity takes so much time. People want to be like really good, really quickly, all the time.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, totally. Even the best people, they have to do a lot of work. Jeff told me the other day that Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson wrote maybe over 200 songs for Thriller. And like they're like 2 of the best songwriters in the entire world.
Yeah.
And still that's how much work they do to chisel down to get to a solid fucking great album.
It's like cleaning the pipes, isn't it? You have to just, for every amazing song there's hundreds and hundreds of terrible ones.
Yeah.
Well, not terrible, but like hundreds of ones that don't see the light of day, and that's just a fact of it all, isn't it?
It's just part of the process.
It is part of it, and I think like I'm learning to view the frustration part as part of it now.
Yeah,
and not just give up straight away. Like that's partly why I haven't released music for so long. It's just I got bored of. I suppose I got too frustrated with writing and just wasn't writing anything that I was happy with. Until midway through, I suppose beginning of last year, and then I started to get back into it a bit more. But yeah, you got to enjoy the process.
You do, and I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this process.
I've enjoyed this process so much.
I love talking to you, and I love you as a friend. Thank you for coming on and chatting to me about all sorts of different things when Jeff wasn't available.
It's been a pleasure. It has been an actual pleasure. I can't actually believe I'm on the podcast. No, it's been an honor, and yeah, next time we'll get Jeff to be here as well.
Yeah, we'll do a 3-way.
Yeah,
the second 3-way we've done.
Yeah.
Can't keep it out of the gutter too much here at A Band Apart with Ekko and Linguistics. Sidetrack and Linguistics. Tell everyone what they can do to support your new release?
You can go to... When's this coming out?
This should come out on Friday.
On Friday. So the day of the release, it will be today. You're listening to this. So you can go and listen to it. It's called Our Time featuring Document One. It's on Shogun Audio. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy it. And yeah, there's loads of music coming this year, which I can't wait for people to hear.
What's your social media?
It's I Am Linguistics on everything, I think. Yeah, everything.
It's a pretty clean
way
to do things.
So people seem to struggle with how to spell linguistics, but maybe it's just promoters.
GWX. Linguistics.
Yeah, that's it.
MC Linguistics. Max, I love you.
Love you too, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Farewell. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on your podcast app and keep up to date with all new episodes. They're going to be coming out once a week. We are Ekko and Sidetrack on Facebook and Instagram. On Twitter, we are Ekko Sidetrack. Go listen to our music on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, or wherever your ears consume happiness. Lots of love, people.